Welcome to this week's Scots in Us podcast, where we return once again to Inverness. We are going to learn of the updates and progress around the Capital Improvement Project at Inverness Castle, and in particular, the Spirit of the Highlands, a wonderful project that's underway that allows us to submit our stories about our families and the history of the Highlands. So let us begin with an overview of the project.
Spirit of the Highlands. What is it? Is it the land, the people, the sights, sounds and smells? All of these and more. The spirit is captured in its stories.
Agus san tír seo ha scéalach gabhair san na húlacáil.
Stories about remarkable people doing amazing things.
And everyday folk doing everyday things.
Each of them adding to the ever-growing story of the Highlands.
How can you capture the spirit of a place that's so diverse? That's what the Spirit of the Highlands project, including the transformation of Inverness Castle, aims to do.
Stories are everywhere. They're in our music, people writing and singing about the places where they were brought up.
No for let fuidir in echt.
Folk telling stories to one another about their past and our future.
Stories that are captured in film and photos, memories of small moments.
And unforgettable events, people living and playing as they've done for generations.
Everything changes, everything moves forward, and new stories are always being made.
It's the brilliant thing about the Highlands. Everywhere and everyone has a story to tell.
Including you. And we'd like to share it with the world. Through the Spirit of the Highlands, your inspiring stories of the area will power the imagination of visitors and locals alike.
They can be down to earth or pie in the sky, but they should capture something of the spirit of the Highlands.
Maybe it's a story that's been passed down generations.
Or one about the future, about where this beautiful area is going.
A story with a bit of soul, a bit of character, and something incredible.
Good to give you na horan, no faun, no shan scéalach dúchal, man skideach.
Something that's touched your heart or made you think.
It might be an inspiring person from recent times or from history.
Or something quite personal to you and your family.
An image of something or a photo that captures the essence of the area for you.
Maybe seeing things from a new perspective.
A fresh take on an old story.
Anything that captures the spirit of the Highlands for you. Han spirit láidir ar a gcealtach.
We want to gather your stories of your Highlands. Share them now at spiritofthehighlands.com.
Inverness has a special place in the history of the American Scottish Foundation. We were founded by Lord Malcolm Douglas Hamilton, who between 1950 and 1954 was Member of Parliament for Inverness. He left Parliament to start the Highland Fund, which in 1955, as he moved to the United States, he started also over here. And out of that grew the American Scottish Foundation. The Highland Fund was set up to help small crofters, businesses, and farmers who were having difficulty at that time getting money through traditional banks, and they would give loans at special rates to these entities. It was all through private donations, and this continued for over 60 years. And the Highland Fund continued actively in Scotland for over 60 years. We're very proud of what Lord Malcolm did, and so to learn of all that's happening now at Inverness Castle and this wonderful project, the Spirit of the Highlands, we now turn to Carenza Murray for an update. And please join me in conversation with Carenza. And so we're joined today by Carenza Murray, who's the Digital Content Officer for Highlands and Spirit of the Highlands. So once again, I'm glad to welcome you to Scots in Us, Carenza, and to hear a catch-up from you on all that's going on.
Certainly, and it's been so good to catch up with you again. Tartan Week was amazing.
Yes, it's quite a marathon, and next year is going to be the 25th anniversary of Tartan Day and the New York Tartan Day Parade with celebrations all over the United States. So we're looking forward to being able to have you join us again then. But this is a major project for the Highlands, the bringing the capital project around Inverness Castle. So Carenza, we're now looking at spring 2025, aren't we? Because we've had COVID, but if this project gets bigger and bigger.
It certainly does. Even if you look back at the past year, so I know Professor Donna Hiddle from UHI Orkney was on the podcast last year.
Yes.
And yes, from then the project's come on leaps and bounds, and it has so many wings, and it's just so fantastic to be involved with it.
Well, Spirit of the Highlands gives an opportunity for people to share their stories and to be a part of what the area's history. And therefore, can you let our listeners and all of us know how they can still be submitting and be a part of this great project?
Of course. So I should say hello to all of you at home. I'm so glad to be part of this podcast and to share this with you. So as part of this project, we've been gathering stories from all across the Highlands and Islands, but we're also looking to diaspora as well, and to all of you at home. And the question that we put out 2 years ago was, what does the spirit of the Highlands and Islands mean to you? And this could be anything. To a lot of people, it can be the land, it could be people, it can be culture, and the rich history of the Highlands as well. So what we're asking people to do, and we would be very delighted if you'd consider submitting your story. If you go to discoverhighlandsandirlands.scot and share with us what you think it is. And this can be the foundation or consideration for quite a number of projects, which includes the Inverness Castle Regeneration, which is a very, very exciting project, which is currently being built and being constructed right now. So the castle itself is going to become we're hoping it'll become a gateway for tourism to the rest of the Highlands and Islands. And we're hoping to do this for a little immersive exhibition that we're calling The Spirit of the Highlands in 100 Stories. So it won't be like your traditional museum at all. It's going to be very immersive and very interactive as well. And the idea is that 100 of these stories will be selected for the castle content. And the stories will guide absolutely everything we do. It informs all of the content in the castle. But also alongside this, we're developing a series of digital assets which will link up the rest of communities throughout the Highlands and Islands. This is exciting. So we're creating an app, a map, and a web platform as well. And we've also got our archive, which went live in April 2020 this year, actually just after Tartan Week, a couple of weeks afterwards. And this went live with Scotland's Year Stories, which is very fitting, actually, a very fitting side.
Absolutely. And would you, in the next few months, be able to share a little bit of some of those stories with us as a sort of teaser upper, if you can't today?
Yes, of course. We've actually, the archive right now has all of the stories that have been shared with us so far. So it's a privilege to be able to go through them, yes. So you can see there's quite a lot of them live at the minute. We've got some of them that need a little bit of padding out at the back, but there's about 170 live at the minute that you can go in and browse. And all of them are wonderful, and they all give little unique depictions of Highland life, past, present, and future.
Well, when I go up to the Highlands, I love to take the train up, and I get to Inverness, and I love to stay in what is really a beautiful market town. And you look up, and there's the wonderful castle, and it's going to be fantastic for visitors to now be able to visit the castle and have such a rich experience. So can you tell us a little bit more about some of the exhibits that you've been putting together? And, they are very progressive from what you've been noting to me in past conversations.
Yes, so we're working alongside Maver & Co, who are our content design partners, and we're in the design stages at the minute. And from the stories that we've received, we've narrowed the whole design of the castle down to 3 themes: land, people, and culture. And so we have all of these stories, and we're sort of selecting them for different rooms based on what has been submitted so far. So we have rooms that are based on landscape and scenery, people's connection to the landscape, And we also have heritage, we have a bit on tartan there, Highland culture, how culture spans across the whole world, how it's travelled. But we've also got rooms which can be a bit more theatrical. So we have the whole experience is going to be sort of led, if you will, by a storyteller, a digital storyteller. So the closest word we sort of have for that in Gaelic is a sheniki, and that's a sort of ancient tradition that's usually associated with clans, and the clan leader would have a sheniki who would go around and recount stories of the Highlands from his travels. So that's essentially that. It's going to be very quite full on, quite immersive. You're going to be surrounded by Highland culture, natural and cultural, cultural heritage.
And so at this point, we can still send you in. Is it a written story that you want with images, or should they be filming their family story for you? How would you like them sent to you?
So it can be a mixture. That's the beauty of this project, is we do love the traditional text, but if you have video, if you can tell your story with images as well, the more the merrier is what we're asking. The portal that we've got at the moment it'll never close. We did originally have a deadline for it, but we just thought, as we saw all of these wonderful stories come in, we realized what we're building is quite unique, and it really is painting a picture of Highland life quite unlike any other.
And so you're going to have 100 that you spotlight, and then you're going to have the others available in a library.
Yes, so it's not to worry if your story does not get chosen for the castle. We've got two things. So we've got the digital assets that we're creating just now. So we will be able to put your story back in its authentic environment for people to experience. So how we're doing this is we've got an interactive map being developed right now, so people can go out and discover your story and make stories of their own, which is quite lovely to be able to link them together. But also the exhibit at the castle is going to be ever changing, the stories that get selected. So the idea is that they'll at the moment, the idea is that they'll get refreshed. So when you go back, what you experience is never quite the same, and it's always evolving, it's always adapting.
Ah, this is wonderful. I'm so excited. Well, partly because I'm such I love Inverness. I think it's a wonderful place to headquarter yourself out of, and then experience the rest of the Highlands. Go over to Culloden, go over and see all the wonderful some of the castles in the region, etc., and take wonderful walks. So I think this is the most wonderful thing that's happening. So spring 2025, but lots of news before that from you.
Yes, exactly. It's so spring 2025 might seem a long time away, but we are busy away trying to get these all of these digital stuff sorted, and it will provide a good relationship, I think, with the castle, and a lasting legacy as well. That's what we can really hope for this project, is that these stories, not only are they a sort of a unique snapshot right now, but the legacy that they'll build is hopefully to support communities for the future as well, encouraging people after the impact that COVID's had across the Highlands and Islands, and likewise across the world, be able to support communities and encourage sustainable and responsible tourism for all.
I think that one of the things that has come out of COVID is our awareness of family, a greater awareness and appreciation sometimes for family that we took for granted, and for our roots. And so I think that this project ticks all those boxes and is a wonderful way. And in this time of stories, of Scotland's Year of Stories, which goes into next year, I think this is fantastic. So thank you, Carenza. We look forward to catching up with you very shortly again. And thank you for sharing video and images for us that have enhanced our conversation today.
Oh, and thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a chasing the deer. A chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the north, the birthplace of valour, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands, forever I love. Farewell to the mountains high covered with snow, farewell to the straths and green valleys below, farewell to the forests and wild hanging woods, farewell to the torrents and loud pouring floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here, my heart's in the Highlands, a chasing the deer. A chasing the wild deer and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go.
Inverness is truly a great market town and a wonderful base of discovery of the Highlands. And I'm so looking forward to when we can return up to the castle and discover all that they're going to be offering us. And so thank you for joining us today. Visit our website, americanscottishfoundation.com, to learn of our programs and all the different things going on. The Scots in Us is brought to you the first and third Monday of the month and is available to all to enjoy through our libraries on your favorite platforms, as well as now on Facebook video. And so until next time.